We were sent this Wicker egg chair. My wife was really excited to be able to put it together. The parts, it's pretty self-explanatory. I looked at the instructions ahead of time. It comes with all of the screws and nuts and bolts that you need to be able to put it together. It comes with its own tools as well, so you don't need tools to be able to assemble it outside of the ones that it comes with. But if you do have your own, it definitely makes the assembly a lot faster. I haven't put one of these together yet, but looking over the instructions, really straightforward. Let's get started. All right, the first part of the instructions here is just putting the first parts of the egg cage together. So we have the parts here. All of the parts are labeled A, B, and C. So it makes it real easy to be able to know where to assemble it. And then it has the circles of where you're gonna put the bolts through. So we're gonna get started on that. Let's see, it looks like 6 bolts to be able to put this together to get the main structure. And then we'll start putting all the other pieces together. All right, so to be able to put the parts together here, it has a nice little flange that actually fits together. So the parts fit in there first, and then you can grab the bolts. There's different size bolts, and it does tell you in the instruction which one to utilize. It uses a number system of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the different parts. So on this one here, to be able to put these together, you're gonna use part number 2. And then there's the washer that goes on either side of that as well. So I'm holding it together here while I'm putting the washer on the bolt, and then send the bolt through. And then it has you put a washer on the other side along with the nut. It is a little tight fit here a little bit, so just make sure that you're moving your hands in the proper direction so that the wicker part stays out of your path. And then I go through and I put all of them on first. So first one I just do hand tight, and then there's 2 more on here to be able to hold this section together. I already did it on the other section, so it makes it easier when you're just hand tightening them, because maybe you need to move things around just a little bit. So don't tighten everything down until you have all of the bolts in. Going in here to tighten them up, it comes with the Allen key that you need. It also comes with its own wrench, but if you have your own, it is a lot easier to make this happen just because it speeds up the process. So here I have a standard socket wrench. I also have a box end that has the ratcheting end on it. So that one can be really nice, because then you just have to hold the Allen key and then ratchet that. Or if you're gonna use a socket, it's 10 millimeter, and you just fit it between the wicker part there to be able to fit it on there. So you can still make that happen. You just have to squeeze it between the wicker. So a box end that has a ratcheting box end can be really nice, but if you just have your own box end, of course, it can still be nice to be able to have a higher quality tool that you can use to tighten it up. Now, it does not say in the instructions how snug to make these, so I'm just gonna make them, just tight, but not crank a lot of torque onto it. So we'll just go through and do it, and I'm gonna keep my hand kind of up here tight so that when I feel it just starting to get pretty snug, I'll just go through and then stop. That way I'm not over torquing it and starting to tweak or bend the metal here, but it gives enough confidence that it's gonna hold itself together. The main structure is now put together here and tightened. Now we put the top on. They have the little flanges that it fits into, which is really nice. The other thing you could do too to just sometimes make this a little bit easier is you could wait till the very end to be able to tighten everything down. It can sometimes just be easier to give yourself a little more leeway when you're putting these together, and also just making sure that you're not crimping any of the little parts here. So this one here, it says use the part 4 bolts. So just making sure that when you do open the package, don't just rip everything up and put it on the ground. Make sure you keep it inside the packaging so that you know what it is. Luckily, all the washers and all the nuts are the same. It's just the bolts are different lengths. So you want to make sure that you're getting the proper ones, so you're not having to wonder which one goes where, or kind of hunt for it. So I go through here, I'm just gonna pop them into place first, and then I'll go through and put the washers and the nuts on there. So we have that done. The washer on. Top of the egg part is installed. We're gonna turn this over onto its side here, because now it's time to install the bottom. So the bottom part of the cushion here has the cross members that the bottom base will go onto. It's real easy to be able to also know which way this goes because the curvature matches the curvature of the egg. So that's really handy. And then on this one here, we're using part 3 bolts. We used part 4 for the top, so part 3 for the bottom here. It also has the flanges that things fit into to make it real easy for assembly. And then we'll go through and bolt it up. And then the next step is to be able to put the base on it. This thing is going together so easily. All right, the main structure is all together now. Look at how this thing looks. Oh, it's actually heavy. There it is. And then we have the stand that needs to go on here. So I'm going to put this back down gently and be able to put this together. One thing I did notice in putting these bolts in is that I did have to push the wicker material out of the way just a little bit because some of them, probably just from shipping and vibrations, had moved over the holes, but it was really easy. I did not have to grab any special tools to do that. I just had to make sure I just pushed it out of the way with my hands to be able to get it in. This one specifically was one that was just kind of blocking it, so I just moved it back over, but not that big a deal, but just something to be aware of when you're going through there and wondering why you couldn't get the bolt through the hole. All right, the next one is just these bolts here going through with a couple of washers, and it'll tighten up to the bottom. The main structure is now together. The legs are on here. One thing about the legs here is it does have levelers, so in case you need to adjust them to be able to get everything to sit properly without rocking, you can adjust those. There's 4 of them. And I left some of the bolts here and some of the nuts loose. I'm gonna go through and tighten it all up, and then it's ready to put the cushions on and start to enjoy it. All right, the last step's here now. Figure out where you wanna put it for right now, and then get the pillows and put the pillows in place. Make sure the labels are covered up there. Get those down there. And then kick back and relax and enjoy the beauty of it. After the final assembly, very easy to be able to put this together. A few parts and then you're done. Get the cushions on here. This is such a nice piece to be able to have and just add that extra ambiance to your environment. I love it. I know you will as well.